Saturday. Yes, it is a Saturday. And if we weren't here, I probably wouldn't be recording a video. But I do feel the need to make an update. There were some things that happened, and this will be a little bit quicker. We'll just kind of go over what we want to see, a little bit of a sketchiness based on where we start, and so we'll just kind of get into it anyway. So long story short, let's see. We want to stay above. Okay, let's just kind of look at what we did yesterday. So let's actually do it like this, a little bit more clear. Okay, so we see that we came down. I think it was within $1. Maybe we came $1 lower. Yeah, we came to 933, and it was 934. So we came here. We had the entry point here, and it looks like we just cracked back down. It kind of is what it is in its sense. More so as wasn't really expecting bullishness on Bitcoin as opposed to some of the altcoins that I mentioned. We were talking about Ethereum, which pushed up a little bit, which seemed a little bit premature. It didn't start exactly where we wanted it to, or where I wanted it to. Let me just show that real quick. And then Doge and one of the other ones. So it didn't start in a horrible place, though. I mean, we did get Ethereum to Bitcoin pushing up here, which was nice for what it was. But I was really hoping it would start somewhere here. But I mean, at the end of the day, Bitcoin has to do its thing just because like, let's be serious. I mean, we got to get above this we were talking about yesterday, and then here, and then then we have to deal with all of this, and then we have to deal with this area before we can even get into anything all the way up there. So it was always already by a far stretch, even if we did start slightly higher from getting anywhere. And then let's go to Doge in a second, but I guess just to reiterate, we're looking for this to start above the line again. This time, hopefully, a couple nice things is we do have this trend down here already as it is, and let's see where this line is going to be. I think it's 115 every time. 15, 15, 15, just about. Too lazy. It looks like 15. It could be 14 and change. So 115, we're looking at, what's that, 19? Yeah, 19, right? Yeah, so we're looking at 18819. So we can move this to 18819. So right there, we'll move it over one tick. Okay. Okay, so pretty much we just need to start here. So I mean, I think this looks pretty nice actually. All things considered, I actually especially looking where this trend is. I really like this. It does it does look like it's gonna have a little bit to go against it. I really the one thing I think I like about this more than anything is that it looks kind of like a do or die spot, more or less. It definitely looks incredibly wedged. I would much more prefer for this to touch down to this trend and then come over to have a short-term trend to push it up. Maybe we have something push it up, but it does look very wedged with us in the the shorter term coming down onto it, which we can just kind of see here. So, I mean, we definitely could start around here. We did almost touch here. It looks about an hour ago at 6 o'clock my time. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I mean, it just really needs to hold here for that 8 o'clock change. And I think it should be fine, but it looks like a pretty nice spot anyway, in regards to like do or die. If we do drop here through here, I'd still like to see the extra day. The market's not open yet, so we're not necessarily going to see. Well, not necessarily. We're not going to see anything from the market. Um, but I hope it doesn't push up too much. I would much more. I think the closer that we can start to just being above this, the better. Um, at the end of the day, time and time again, I'd much prefer these things to end under and start above when we have such an aggressive trend line as opposed to ending above and starting above and coming down. So, just to reiterate one more time, we did see it yesterday come down. I don't remember what time this was on this candle, came down, touched it with $1, and that was yesterday at 3 in the morning. Today at 3 in the morning. I'm sorry, today at 3 in the morning. Yeah, today at 3 in the morning. So I still think it looks fine. I just kind of want to put this video out, just saying that's kind of what I'm looking for. And then maybe if I see something else, or maybe some divergence, I'll throw it on there. It does look a little bit sketchy. It looks like a great thing if it can just get some pressure upwards, because attacking this area looks really strong. Like if we can push out of this area, this looks pretty strong to then be able to fight these ranges up here. And we have this nice trend that it's finally more or less going to be forced to come back into if it maintains this price at least, right? Because I mean, if it holds this price here within a day or two, it's forced to. So hit the trend. Anyway, so let's go to Doge and we kind of wrap some of this up. We can look at Doge real quick, and I don't remember the other one, Ripple, and just to kind of get a quick update on those. So Doge made its move. It made it pretty quick, but we'll see here. I remember checking it earlier. I'm pretty sure on the other 4 hours we'll see the same thing. We got the push up from the 2, but we'll be able to see something here, and this is a 2-hour finish. Notice this is 2 and a 4-hour. This is a 2 and this is a 4-hour. So this, and we'll just be able to see it here. Anyway, I really don't like kind of what this is doing here anyway. The big thing I was saying, if we remember, that we can check from this one, if anyone ever wants to check Doge, USD, BTC possible movements, when I kind of went over it a little bit more, is that we did get this 2-hour push up, but this is a 2-hour switch over. It looks like it pushed up first, which is just yikes. But it's clear when I click on the 4-hour, right? There's really no kind of question about what was happening here. More than anything, we just managed to fail. We'll also check Doge to Bitcoin in a second, but we can just clearly see here that we just couldn't get a single 4-hour start above. And instead of coming down and trying to attack this place again with some strength, it just kept sitting up here. So if we want to call it like a demand zone or whatever, with the supply down here, I mean, they can't start up. They not a single time because they started above the demand zone. I don't really want to get too much into that because I don't think it's important to use terminology. But yeah, so just to kind of show you guys, I really don't like this now. We did get these highs here, but this is pretty ugly. So for me to really like this, the same thing is I already called this. This was pretty standard to kind of see something happening here, but we just didn't get it up here. So for me to like this, we've already used this area. I wouldn't really enter here. It's possible we do something here. We'll see with Doge to Bitcoin in a sense. Maybe that'll show us some strength. I think that looked like it had a chance. And by the time you guys see this, unless you check the update, it's probably because it usually takes 15 minutes. It might already be 8 o'clock, slightly after the new day time frame. Anyway, I'd rather wait for this to do its thing up here and have a 4-hour start above. Clear and simple. So let's just get off of this because I don't need to waste too much time on it. We can already kind of see. We can already see it's pretty straightforward. We can see with one of them here, it looks like we tried. I don't know what was going on. We should have a day time frame here, yeah. And so we just really overextended all the way to 356. I don't really understand why. Um, it's kind of interesting. We ended above and started under, but like I said, especially with some of these lower liquidity ones, depending on what's on the books, that's just kind of how it is. I don't think this was really determinate though. This isn't a like there's no 12-hour line here. It's just a fib. So I don't look for any. I don't generally look for any like specific endings here or there. We can see some of the issues that it was having here, but really at the end of the day, what we're looking for is this day finish above. So we might still have that. We're still looking for the day to finish at least 2 to 3 sats, preferably 3 sats above at 338 sats. And if we can get that, or technically if you see that, because the time this comes out, we'll see if it's before 8, but that's essentially what I'd be looking for Doge right here. Otherwise, I don't like it. We have something under it. I think it could still actually push up, to be honest, but I think it'll probably just on a short time frame be something that pushes up with an extension and then it starts heading back downwards. That's what I'd imagine. So let's go to the last one real quick. Shiba was doing some nice stuff, but this is like, even if we just delete all this, just because this is old stuff, I might want to move this at a later date. But we can just clearly see this thing got overbought. Anyone that didn't take profits up here, that's kind of on their own thing, right? I mean, anybody that, like, if you're not going to sell out and you're going to hold long term, why at least not put something 12? I mean, I guess if the idea is everything's going to shoot up, this could still push up. I don't see why not. But, depending on what Bitcoin does and if, depending on the targets and all that, we could see some sketchiness. But the only weakness I see in this is just that it shot up so much. That's pretty much all I really see. I'm not going to go too far into Shiba. I guess the easiest thing to say for Shiba is on a 12-hour, I'd like to see it start above 1,190. So that's that. Anyway, let's go to the Ripple. That was the last one. Okay, for Ripple, no big surprise here. We had our 12-hour that we were looking for. We didn't really see anything nice with it. I was actually surprised. I think this was when the normal market was still open, and we got this kind of reversal here, and this was like the end of the day. So we can see that we switch over, the market ends, and we immediately push up. We can pretty much see here on the short term, we haven't been beating anything. This is what I wanted to see. I did not want to, well, I didn't want to see it fighting up here so much. I wanted to see as little fighting, as little buying up here as possible. And I did want to see something like this. I wanted to see a little bit more cupping. So long story short, Ripple, the same thing here. This is a weak time frame, so I'd at least like to see a weak time frame start above here. That doesn't mean it's a buy just because the weak time frame starts above. It will be important on what kind of support that we have on the shorter time frame trends here. So I think if we can kind of push down into some of these areas and then, tomorrow or whatever, push up and then switch over, I think that would be pretty nice to shoot up. So if we can see something like this, something that doesn't push too far and just looks kind of nice. I don't like how we've just been pushing against it here. So I do think there's a high chance we're going to have to come down and maybe make a new low that comes under this and then push up. So that's still what I'm looking for. And we'll see what kind of just check in with that and just see what happens with that. So that's pretty much it. So on the short term for Bitcoin, I hate to say it, it kind of is what it is. I don't think it looks horrible. We're still above where the next thing's going to be. So I like it. It looks pretty wedged. It seems like a pretty nice do or die spot. I suppose it could come down even if we start above. I don't see why not per se. But I expect it to try to push up at least a little bit with it starting so close. And I don't think it's doomsday as usual. I think more or less, I always think the worst times are when we start right under it. So if we were to start push down and start under this, I would be very worried about a very sizable drop tomorrow. Otherwise, it could move down, but I wouldn't be too concerned over like a huge drop because generally, like with the huge drops, when we switch over, it's like an overextension. We come back generally and test at this line. So it could happen either way since we see a wedge and it's not the best of things, but we can also kind of see, in a sense, how it could do something. I mean, this is a fairly large candle down compared to some of these other ones. So we could expect somewhat of a boost up from here. If we want to keep it simple, also, we're going to be having these 4 hours. So I think another safe way for this is just kind of doing it, looking at them over time. We'd be looking at something that comes up around a 4 hour that can end around, so starting in the next 8 hour or like after we switch for that, we'd be looking for a four that starts somewhere around 19,200, somewhere about there. And then on the next 4 hours, somewhere about 19,000. So it seems like it's going down about 40 to 50 every 4 hours. So anything that essentially starts a 4 hour up here looks pretty strong to try to then push up. But then we'll see what happens before any of this kind of stuff. So I just kind of wanted to put that out, just a quick update. Since we did have like such a nice hit on it and on the day time frame, and then we did have this at the end of the day. I don't think this is horrible. They could try to push it down a little bit more, but we'll have to see. So there would be 5 minutes before this gets out. If anybody sees it, I'll update it. So it's I always link it. So the thing is, it's always nice sometimes to check these. I don't know if people always see when they're updated. I don't know how it works, to be honest. But I will put the update in here, so it will be immediately available, and you won't have to wait the 15 minutes. Obviously, you don't know that now, but just kind of for the future, that'll be something. If you do see this updated, that's the quickest way to see the updates. Anyway, take care, guys. Have a good weekend, and I'll touch base tomorrow, and we'll see what happens. Peace.